What's up and good afternoon, guys? Welcome back to another video. I just sat in about I'd say 45 minutes of traffic to be able to make this video, but I wanted to come to see the truck while it's actually in progress because it'll help me explain what the video topic of today is and kind of show you one part of what we're going to be talking about. Obviously rock lights, you clicked on the video, but my truck is currently getting them installed, and once they're installed, it's really kind of hard to talk about the back end of what goes into installing them. So obviously we're over here at Preston's, the guys that are building my truck, and let's step inside and talk some rock lights. What's up, buddy? Oh, nice and tight fit under there, huh?
Oh, super tight under here.
Yeah.
Oh, lift the truck. It's easier to work on.
I mean, I'm glad you're making progress, but I was like, I introduced this video to talk about rock lights, and I was like, oh, it's cool. We're gonna get in there right now. They haven't, we're able to show you the backside of the rock lights. So there's tons and tons and tons of different rock light options that you can go with for your truck, your car, whatever you're gonna put them on, your ATV or UTV, doesn't really matter. And obviously, there's a giant price difference between, the cheapest ones and the most expensive ones. Now, depending on what you want to do with your vehicle and how much money you want to spend, some people just want the most expensive of whatever it is that they can find. And if that's your lifestyle and if you got the money, cool, do it. And then there's the people that want to find the cheapest stuff that they can find on eBay, Amazon, all that. Now, mind you, most rock lights that are being made are all produced in China. They're probably produced in similar factories. So to say that buying a budget friendly rock light, you're getting crap, it's not necessarily true. As you guys know, I run C4 rock lights on my truck, and just for transparency, on this truck build, C4 did provide all the rock lights for me, so I haven't paid for any of them. That being said, on my last truck build, I actually did pay for all the C4 rock lights, and the reason they are going to be put back onto this truck is not because they're offering them to me for free, but it's because it is a quality light. As you guys know, I've had a lot of companies offer me products, and I'm not just going to put something on the truck that just because it's free and they gave it to me, I'm not going to put it on there. It's got to be something that I want, something that is quality, because I feel like if I'm running it and you guys are seeing it, I want you guys to know that there's quality parts there that you guys can put on your own vehicles. I'm not going to try and promote anything that is junk. So these are C4's rock lights. They come individually bagged like this, and as you can see, one of the differences between C4 and some other rock lights is C4 uses just one LED diode in there, a light emitting diode. So there's just only one LED filament in there. Some rock lights are a panel, some rock lights are circular, some use a couple. And since we're on the topic of color, I run only white lights on my truck. You can get color changing ones, you can get different colored, single color LEDs. And the reason I choose to run single color over multicolor is, from my experience, this may not be 110% true, but from my experience, when you have LEDs that are multiple colors, basically what it uses is it'll turn on the three diodes halfway to create different colors. That's kind of how they blend the colors together. It's three different lights that are blending the colors together. Well, in doing that, you're not getting full strength LEDs. So to me, if you want the brightest of a color, you need to go with just a single color. Now, if you can't make up your mind or you want to change colors, obviously you're stuck with going multiple colors, or you can just run multiples of these in different colors and have them all switched separately. Now, if we're talking color for your rock lights, one of the biggest reasons that I go with white is because obviously I've got a colored lift kit. And if you start to put in red or you start to put in some other type of light color in your wheel well, the powder coating on your color is obviously going to look different. And depending on where you live, there's also different laws regarding colors underneath your truck or coming off of your truck. So most states aren't going to let you run red and blue or any of that kind of stuff that's visible from the front of the vehicle. One of the other reasons I decided to go white is you're going to get looked at less if you're running white rock lights while you're driving versus any other color. Now, that being said, you are still going to be drawing attention to yourself, and there still may be some legalities around running white while you're driving, but to me, you've got a better chance of getting away with it than if you are running red, blue, strobes, any kind of other crazy color. So C4 rock lights come like this, with a flat mounting bracket on the back, to where basically what they're kind of designed for is you can mount them flush onto something, the wire comes off the side, and you just basically screw screws into these two little holes and you're good. Now, that design is great for a lot of different areas on the truck. One of the ways they came in was, instead of flush mounting them on the surface, they hole sawed out the fender well and they slid them in from behind. And on my last truck, it stuck out to about there, which wasn't really an issue when we had the lights up top of the fender well, because obviously when you're standing out here, they disappear. But now that we're mounting them over here on the sides, it starts to become an issue because you see this big silver disc sticking out. So they came up with a trick little method to eliminate that.
What me and Preston came up with was the way we mount them is behind the inner fender well. what happens is it sticks out a good inch. So if you can imagine this little light sticking out to about there, it looks a little gaudy because there's just a bunch of little silver things. So what we did is had little machine, or spacers machined, to set the depth in the fender well, which makes it look like it is a whole lot cleaner and a little bit more custom.
So after they came up with the method of mounting them behind the fender liner, we also needed a method to mount them to other areas of the truck that wouldn't just limit us to any kind of flat spot on the truck. Because to me, the goal isn't just to get white light underneath the truck. It's actually to accent some of the, you know, lift kit parts and all that. So they just quickly bent up these sweet brackets that they made, painted them to match, and that allows them to really get a lot more custom with the placement of the light and whether they want it straight at a 90-degree off the frame or shoot it back at an angle like the ones that are back over here. It really allowed them the flexibility to put the light anywhere they wanted, because shadows are a huge thing. And if you guys ever saw my last truck, you saw that there was not a weird shadow on the ground anywhere underneath it, because they took the time to go up underneath, and you literally have to hold the light in places that you want it to ensure that there's no shadows. Now, to some people, the shadows might not be a big deal, but to me, it just looks really half-assed if somebody just slammed a bunch of lights up underneath the truck and there's just crappy shadows everywhere. I like clean light. The amount of wire you had to run just to like test it.
Just to test them, yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Oh, we forgot these two. That's what these ones are for. There's two more that aren't in the loop.
Nice. Oh, I love it. Oh, those brackets are sick. As you guys can see, there's like 5,001 ways you can mount rock lights. If you go to some cheap shop, they're literally going to find any flat surface they can mount them on and then stick them in.
Here,
right.
Here.
So if you're going to be getting rock lights installed, make sure you tell the installer to use the light appropriately. Shadows are important. Shadows can be bad. You could have shadows all over the ground, and that's not good. If you notice here, there's no shadows anywhere on the ground. And you also, if you got cool stuff, you know, up underneath the truck you want to highlight. So Zach over here made these custom mounts. Can you kill the light for a second? Made these custom mounts right here that actually angle the lights towards the tanks, but still down. That way you get enough light on the tank to show off the tanks, but you still put light onto the ground, because that is one of the things I requested, was to be able to actually still see the glow on the ground. Fast and the Furious style.
Two more back here, because there is, like you said, shadows. There is a gnarly triple tire out the back that we have to kill with more light.
Well, it's a good thing I brought extra rock lights.
Well, it's because of the 4 in the fender wells, the 2 up underneath it just casts a crazy shadow outside of the truck. So to light the underside of the truck, we have to just keep adding lights until they disappear. That's
there you go.
What happens.
I said, I don't mind.
Yeah, and it's more light the better. So
there you go.
It'll look like a floating spaceship.
One of the other things that you have to take into account when you're running rock lights is rock lights take a ton of wiring depending on how many lights you're running. And the good thing about the single color rock lights is it's literally a positive and a negative wire. So you can make up your own wiring harnesses. You can shoot, you know, one wire to the back and then daisy chain them to a bunch of other lights and then just really run it off one switch. If you're running multicolored lights, depending on who the manufacturer is, multicolored lights use their own proprietary cable, because it also has to send the data signal to the LED light itself to know what color to change. Now that becomes a little different, because you can literally only use the supplied cable or cable that mates up to it. You can't just run wiring. So it's something to keep in mind depending on how long of a run you are. You know, you're going to need to know how much wire you need to get from the front of the cab to the rear, or vice versa. Now, if you're running only 4 rock lights on your truck, it is really not that big of a deal to kind of stash some of the wiring. But one of the most important things you need to remember is you're going to have a ton of wire that needs to be hidden, but it also needs to be protected, because underneath the truck is going to be getting wet, and you don't want your connections to start to leak or get wet, and then all of a sudden half your lights are working, half aren't. It can get really weird. But you also need to factor in, especially if you're doing wheel wells or something like this on a diesel truck, like on our GM trucks here, to get to the fuel filter, it is right behind that wheel well right there. So if these are all hardwired in and you try and remove this fender liner to get to the wheel well, you're going to get in this weird conundrum of starting to yank on wires. So what they did is every one of these wheel wells is completely wired to itself, but then there's also connectors. So you can unplug the wheel well, pull the whole thing out, and the lights all come with it. So make sure when you're going into your rock light project, you have a plan. And try and think of anything you could ever come up with to why you would have to remove any part of that area that rock light is mounted to and account for it. Now, how much you spend on rock lights is really going to depend on many, many factors. Obviously, your budget being number one, and the amount of brightness and the quality of light being kind of number two. Obviously, I would say ridges would be on the higher end of rock lights, but they're also kind of overly expensive if you ask me. To me, I like to find a nice mid-grade price and just make sure it's a quality light. One thing you want to take into mind, especially if you're trying to buy a really cheap budget like Amazon rock lights, something like that, is these things are going to get beat up, they're going to get wet, and all it takes is one little leak on a cheap quality light to kind of ruin your whole light system. So these lights, obviously being in my wheel well, when this thing gets dirty, they're going to get crap thrown at them in the rain, and also when you pressure wash the truck, you're pressure washing right up against these lights. Now, I had these on my old truck, and I filled the entire wheel well with mud and was able to pressure wash all the mud out directly into the light, and I never had one light go out on all 16 that were on the last truck that I built. And that's another reason I decided to go with C4 on this truck. So as you guys can see in this wheel well, all 4 lights are installed and they're on, and you really can't see any of it sticking out past, you see a little bit of the light right there, but that is obviously just the fur of the GM furry wheel wells that kind of attract some of the light, so we'll go around and give that a good shave. But that's kind of important to me, is to not see the light source, because it just looks a lot cleaner when you see just the light coming down. So in order to really get a comprehensive video, I actually just put out an Instagram post, and a lot of you guys are answering, so thank you guys that have asked questions. One of the questions I got, and kind of one that kind of falls in line with a lot of things that when people are building their truck, they kind of get like there's this weird stigma around things, and one of which is, are rock lights only for show, or can you put them on everyday cars? And actually, rock lights were formed to be just that, rock lights. So if you're crawling in your Jeep and you're going through some trail at night, rock lights underneath the vehicle actually light up rocks. That's kind of where they got their name from. But obviously back in the day, neon lights and LED color changing lights and all that were big on the big, like, lowered car, Civic, Fast and the Furious type stuff. And it just kind of morphed into the truck scene. And I think the reason people call them rock lights was more so to kind of take away that stigma that they're building some type of Fast and the Furious car. But yes, I mean, it's okay to do whatever you want to your truck build. I know a lot of people ask about lifting a 2-wheel drive truck. Listen, it's your truck. Yes, you may get people that are going to talk crap about what you did lifting a 2-wheel drive truck over a 4-wheel drive truck, but at the end of the day, you're building your truck for yourself, not to impress anybody. So do whatever you want. So yes, you can run rock lights on an everyday driver, on a show truck, on a Jeep going off-road, on a rock crawler, whatever it is, rock lights are fine to run wherever you want. It's your build. Now, say you're wiring up your rock lights and you're running multiple colors, or you're doing multiple things. There's multiple ways to do it. Obviously, my lights are all one color, and I know we had talked about, I'm pretty sure it was with you, Zach, that I had talked about 2 switches? Zach says no, but we talked about 2 switches, but to me, I want just that it's all one clean color. Just turn them all on at once and all off at once. And obviously, as you guys know, I like switches to be hidden, so all of my switches are up underneath that little panel right there. It's hard to really see. So there's multiple ways to switch your rock lights. If you want fronts to come on, rears to come on. To me, I just want it all to come on at once, because they all kind of play in together in my eyes.
Make sure if you have power steps, you don't mount the lights to where when the step's up and the doors are shut and you're rolling down the road thinking you're all badass and you have no lights on the side.
Now, that being said, if you wanted to, you could tie in your power steps to the rock lights.
You could definitely put the lights on the bottom of the steps as well.
Or run it so when the truck door opens and the amp step light comes on, you tie that trigger into all your rock lights, and then all your rock lights will come on.
Puddle light to the max.
There you go.
There you go.
The Dmax.
So you have clearance lights, but they don't really hit the ground anymore.
No, we actually need to wire those to the reverse. So these
that's right. These ones are
these sweet mirrors that Chevy provides, they got these beautiful LEDs in here. Now, these only come on when the truck is either in park or reverse, and you have to manually switch them in the truck. Now, my last truck, my truck didn't come with these mirrors, so I had to spend way too much money to buy these and have them installed, but I had them wire this light directly to the reverse light. And being that the truck is lifted, this light actually shines the light perfectly on any curb that is by your back tire, and you just get it is the ideal curb lighter upper, especially with tinted windows backing up at night.
Before or after you lift the truck all the way up, because that looks like it's going to shine and hit the wall over there.
No. After the truck's lifted, those lights are perfect.
You tried it at home when you had the truck.
Yeah. Well, my last truck was lifted.
Yeah, but not like that. Look at the rake it's sitting at.
All right, it
Look
doesn't ride that high in the back when I'm driving always. It sits level now that we have it set to level, because it's really hard to figure out what level is on the lift kit while you're driving it. And you got to get out and look.
And any of you that have had bag vehicles or air ride vehicles know exactly what we're talking about. You think your level, you get it like, holy crap, I'm riding around like that? No, that's got to change.
Yeah. So luckily we got the preset set now.
Speaking of presets.
Uh-oh.
This looks a little too donkey for my taste.
Yeah, drop it. Seriously, never gets old. Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to wrap up this video. Can't deal with all this loud noise.
I'm trying to get work done, sir.
Oh, okay. So with that, guys, we're going to wrap up this video. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit something about rock lights today and something you can apply to your own build, whether you like them, you want them, you don't want them, you don't care. Either way, I just want to kind of give you guys a little bit of rundown, because I know I get asked a lot about what rock lights I run. And once again, C4 gave me these rock lights. I'm not saying you have to go with them, but to me, they are tried and true, and I've had really great luck with them, and they're just really nice, bright lights for the truck. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, the new upper control arms are here. My buddy Zach over here got the first one on, and I think so far it's looking good, right, buddy? Looks like we might have all that issue.
Good. So looks like they nailed it on this one.
There we go. We'll see. We'll see. In the next day or so, that thing's gonna get on the alignment rack, so we will know for sure if everything is just perfect, and then I can finally get my beautiful truck back.
Then what am I gonna do?
That's good. Well, don't worry. I only need it back for about a week so I can like enjoy it for a minute, and then it's probably just gonna be right back here in the shop to get a bunch more stuff done, because SEMA is coming, and I keep getting reminded daily just how close SEMA is, and we got a lot of parts to put on the truck that I haven't even ordered yet. But anyways, thank you guys for watching these videos. If you have not clicked the subscribe button, please do so now. There you can keep up with the BBB build and all the other crazy stuff that we got going on. Don't forget to give this video a like, aka a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to check out Work For It Apparel, because if there's anything you want in this life, you got to do what?
Work for it.
There you go. So with that, guys, we're gonna end this video. Thank you. We're out.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.